वासुदेवाय शुश्रूषोषधधानस्य वासुदेवकथारुचिः स्यान्महत्सेवया विप्राः पुण्यतीर्थनिषेवनात्. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Shrunvatam svakatah Krishnah Punyashravanakirtanah Hridayantasto hyabhadrani Vidunoti suhritsatam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta prayeshvabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Tada rajastamo bhavaha kamalobhadayascha ye cheta etair anaviddam sitam satve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Evam prasanda manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sanghasya jayate. Thus, established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantesh chidyante sarva samshayah kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishvare. Thus, the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Janavallabha Dari Yasoda Nandana Jana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnu Paramahansa Bhavarani Kacharya, Sadhasai Swadesi, Bhaktivedanta Swami Sarvabhavan Ki Jai, Namachar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sugahal Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Krishna Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Govardhan Shama Kunda Radha Kudda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Gang Jamuna Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Go Premanandi All glories to the Assembled devotees All glories to the Assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Pray from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 82, Verse 29. Yad Vishruti Sruti Nutedam Alam Punati Padava Nejana Payascha Vachacha Shastram Bhukala Bharjita Bhagapi Tat Angri Padma Sparshota Shaktir Abhivarshijano Kilatan Yat, whose Visruti name Sruti by the Veda, Nuta vibrated, Idam this, Alam thoroughly, Punati purifies, Pada whose feet, Avanejana washing, Paya water, Cha and Avacha words, Cha and Shastram revealed scriptures, Bhu earth, Kala by time, Bharjita ravaged, Bhaga whose good fortune, Api even, Yat whose, Angri of the feet, Padma lotus-like, Sparsha by the touch, Utta awakened, Shakti whose energy, Abhivarshati abundantly rains, Na upon us, Akila all, Artan objects of desire. Translation: his fame as broadcast by the Vedas, the water that has washed his feet, and the words he speaks in the form of the revealed scriptures, these thoroughly purify this universe. Although the earth's good fortune was ravished by time, the touch of his lotus feet has revitalized her, and thus she is raining down on us the fulfillment of all our desires. The same Lord Vishnu who makes one forget the goals of heaven and liberation has now entered into marital and blood relationship with you, who otherwise travel on the hellish path of family life. Indeed, in these relationships you see and touch him directly, walk beside him, converse with him, and together with him lie down to rest, sit at ease, and take your meals. Purport: all Vedic mantras glorify Lord Vishnu. This truth is supported with elaborate evidence by learned acharyas like Ramanuja in his Vedartha Sangraha and Madhva in his Rigveda Bhashya. The words Vishnu himself speaks, such as the Bhagavad Gita, are the confidential essence of all scripture. In his manifestation as Vyasadeva, the Supreme Lord composed both the Vedanta Sutras and Mahabharata, and this Mahabharata includes Sri Krishna's personal statement, Vedaischa Savaraham Eva Vedya, Vedandakrit Veda Ved Eva Chaham. By all the Vedas I am to be known, indeed I am the compiler of the Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedanta. When Lord Vishnu appeared before Bali Maharaj to beg 3 steps of land, the Lord's second step pierced the shells of the universe, the water of the transcendental river Viraja, lying just outside the universal egg, thus seeped inside, washing Lord Vamana's foot and flowing down to become the Ganges River. Because of the sanctity of its origin, the Ganges is generally considered the most holy of rivers. But even more potent is the water of Jamuna, where Lord Vishnu in his original form of Govinda played with his intimate companions. In these 2 verses, the assembled kings praise the special merit of Lord Krishna's Yadu clan, not only do they see Krishna, but they are also directly connected with him by dual bonds, marital and blood relationships. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti suggests that the word bandha, beside its most obvious meaning of relationship, can also be understood in the sense of capture, expressing that the love the Yadus feel for the Lord obliged him always to stay with them. Translation: his fame as broadcast by the Vedas, the water that has washed his feet, and the words he speaks in the form of the revealed scriptures, these thoroughly purify this universe. Although the earth's good fortune was ravished by time, the touch of his lotus feet has revitalized her, and thus she is raining down on us the fulfillment of all our desires. The same Lord Vishnu who makes one forget the goals of heaven and liberation has now entered into marital and blood relationships with you, who otherwise travel on the hellish path of family life. Indeed, in these relationships you see and touch him directly, walk beside and converse with him, and together with him lie down to rest, sit at ease, and take your meals. So this is a verse recited by, two verses recited by the kings, who were not directly the Yadus, related to the Yadus, but had some relationship, but they had gathered here at Kurukshetra, so they begin to praise Krishna and the Yadus. So this is, of course, generally one praises the Supreme Lord, especially if he is present, well, that's natural. It is very common that along with praising the Lord, one praises the devotees of the Lord. So here we get one verse dedicated to praising Krishna and another verse praising the Supreme Lord in his relationship with the Yadus. So the Yadus get praise as well by being related with Krishna. So the first verse is a glorification of Krishna because he shows mercy to this material world. One, he manifests the Vedas to the material world. Secondly, the water from the Ganga is pure by having touched his lotus feet. And he also speaks in different ways to purify and educate the universe. So the Vedas are not spoken by the Lord. Of course, they manifest from his mouth, but they're actually eternal. But then at certain times the Lord speaks. So he speaks Bhagavad Gita, for instance, directly. And of course, as Vyasadeva again, he speaks the Puranas and the Mahabharata. And then the Lord also appears within this the material world, and the touch of his lotus feet, cancels out all of the faults of people in the material world. Yeah? And that means when the Lord appears, then the world completely changes because of the presence of the Supreme Lord and the touch of his lotus feet. Of course here it says, Abhivarshita no akyal artan, all things that we need are supplied to us because of the presence of the Supreme Lord. So in other words, when the Lord is present, then everyone gets what they need to survive in the material world and to advance in their spiritual life. So this is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So this particularly takes place when the Lord is personally present, as he was at that time when he was in Kurukshetra and all the kings could see Krishna. But apart from that, even when the Lord is not personally present, we can say the same takes place, because through the process of bhakti, then the Lord does the same thing. So, for instance, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna directly says, I supply what you lack, and I preserve what you have. So the Lord takes care of the devotee so that he can continue his practice of bhakti in this material world. Of course, materially speaking, he does that. And then he also supplies everything spiritual. So therefore, Krishna also says, I give you the intelligence by which you can come to me. So Krishna gives spiritual support as well as material support. So whatever is favorable for the advancement of the devotee, the Lord supplies. So this is even when the Lord is not personally present as avatar, this takes place. However, when the Lord is personally present, then we get some very special advantages, because one can directly see the Lord, as here the various kings see the Lord directly. So they can get some direct inspiration in the process of bhakti by the Lord's presence. And when the Lord is personally present, the world becomes transformed. So we see when Krishna was born, it's described in the first chapter of the 10th canto. There, when Krishna was born, suddenly everything became prosperous. Kamsa had afflicted the whole planet, and he had suppressed the brahmanas and sacrifices, etc. And the population was feeling miserable. But when Krishna appeared at midnight, then suddenly everything began to change. And even the seasons began to change. And then instead of the monsoon season, suddenly it was like spring. And we get the fragrance of the jasmine flowers and the lotuses, etc. So when Krishna appears, then everything manifests differently in this material world. So presence of Krishna himself is very special. And then people get a chance to personally see the Lord directly with their own eyes, which doesn't take place when the Lord is not personally present as avatar. So there's some special advantage when the Lord is personally present. So in any case, the Lord has a mission to fulfill by his presence. One, of course, is the external mission to annihilate the demons like Kamsa or Jarasandha and protect the devotees. But the other purpose is to relate with his devotees in pastimes and inspire those devotees and to inspire other devotees by those pastimes. So that is an even more important function of the Supreme Lord's appearance in this world. So that is actually expressed in the second verse, where we see that the Yadus had the opportunity to personally see him and touch him and speak to him and eat with him, etc. They had a very direct relationship with the Supreme Lord at this time, and they interacted with him and felt bliss because of their relationship with him. So that is not got anything to do with simply killing demons, etc. This is the positive aspect. That is, he comes to associate with his devotees, and through that the devotees become blissful, and the Lord becomes blissful. So this is the primary cause or function of the Lord's appearance. Related to that, of course, is the killing of the demons, because if the demons aren't killed, then the Yadus are afflicted. So this is a necessary factor, but it is secondary. The main thing is the enjoyment of relationships with his devotees, in this case the Yadus. And therefore the kings appreciate how the Lord associates with the Yadus, and they praise this relationship. So it is, we could say, fortunate for the devotees who are involved, because they experience bliss. But it is also the essential nature of the Supreme Lord. What does the Lord do in the spiritual world? He does not kill demons. His function is to have pastimes with his devotees in bliss. So that's the main activity in the spiritual world. So even though the Lord comes to the material world and he kills demons, still this is the main activity of the Supreme Lord, to enjoy these pastimes. Therefore, there's the two aspects of the pastimes in the material world. One is the killing the demons and establishing dharma, etc. The other is to enjoy pastimes with the devotees. So this part is similar to the uppercut pastimes in the spiritual world, where the Lord is continually doing this. So that's the essential nature of the Supreme Lord, expressed very nicely. The closer one is to the Lord, then the greater the affectionate exchanges, and consequently the sweeter the bliss. So the Yadus are considered quite elevated because they have a close relationship to the Lord because of being relatives. They are in the same family, in the Yadu dynasty. That itself establishes a close relationship. Of course, then we can say, well, what about the people of Vrindavan? They have a closer relationship with Krishna. Also, Krishna is related to everyone there. So Krishna is the son of Yasoda and Nanda, and therefore Nanda is the head of all the cowherd people there, and they're all related to each other. So therefore, Krishna is related to everybody in Vrindavan as well. So that is one type of intimacy that is created. That is through relationships. And of course, other relationships are there through marriage. So Krishna marries queens, and these queens have an intimate relationship with Krishna. So in Dwarka, of all the different relationships, Krishna has the most intimate relationship with the queens. So that is considered to be the highest relationship and the highest bliss within Dwarka, the relationships of the queens with Krishna. And we find in the Bhagavatam 10th canto that the queen's love is glorified, and it's quite similar in many ways to the gopis' love. Of course, it is married love, but still it's very intense, and they also feel intense separation from the Lord, even in His presence, just like the gopis do. So they have very intense feelings for the Lord also. However, the intimacy of the people of Dwarka is somewhat lessened by the fact that they are always aware that Krishna is Supreme Lord. That is the Aishwarya mentality is there. And this restricts the intimacy to some degree. Whereas in Vrindavan, there the intimacy is not restricted at all by that feeling. Sometimes they may talk about Krishna as Supreme Lord and they praise Him like that, but it's a temporary phenomena, and then it disappears immediately, and then they no longer think of Him in that way. But with the people of Dwarka, the Yadus, they're always understanding this. It never goes away, that feeling, that understanding that Krishna is Supreme Lord. So in Vrindavan, the affection is more intimate because it's not restricted by that feeling that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And they can very freely express their relationship of friendship or parenthood, etc., with Krishna. And it becomes very, very intense. So the devotees there feel the most intense love. Their love is more intense than that of the people of Dwarka. And Krishna's love also is more intense. It corresponds to their feelings. So therefore, Krishna experiences the highest bliss in Vrindavan. In spite of the fact that he's always blissful, and he's very blissful in Dwarka, still he's most blissful in Vrindavan. So therefore, when he's in Dwarka, he's always thinking of the people of Vrindavan also, because it's more blissful. And that is why he eventually returns to Vrindavan to continue his pastimes there. So in the spiritual world then, we have separate abodes. So we have Goloka, where Krishna is with the people of Vrindavan, and then we have Dwarka as a separate place. And eternally, Krishna is in both forms, satisfying both types of devotees there. So they can experience, and Krishna is experiencing both types of bliss, that with the Yadus and that with the people of Vrindavan, simultaneously. So in this way, he satisfies everybody. So the people of Dwarka are satisfied with their particular type of relationship, in spite of the fact that the bliss is not so intense. Right? And they never dream of leaving Dwarka and then taking up residence in Vrindavan and acting like cowherd people. It doesn't enter their mind. They're completely satisfied with this relationship in Dwarka. And similarly, the people of Vaikuntha are completely satisfied with that relationship with Vishnu or with any other form of the Lord like Nrsimhadev or Rama, etc. And they would never think of leaving them, those particular forms, and going to Krishna or anyone else. So the Supreme Lord, according to the particular mode in which the devotee wants to serve and experience bliss, the Lord responds to that. And he has various forms in various places, and he satisfies each of these devotees nicely. So, objectively, of course, we can say Krishna is the highest, and Krishna in Vrindavan is the highest, and Krishna in Madhurya Rasa with the gopis is the very, very highest. Still, everybody has their particular place, and they're completely satisfied with those relationships and the bliss that they get from those relationships. So they never desire to change and become somebody else. They have their eternal forms and their eternal type of bliss that they have. They're completely satisfied with. So Krishna satisfies everybody. So why this great variety? But this great variety of jivas, and they all are individuals, and they have their individual tastes. So Krishna responds to each one of these by having a different form or a different place and different relationship with each one.
In the context of the queens of Dwaraka, that they know that Krishna is more attached to the Vrajavasis and the Vrajagopis and all that. In this world, generally it is very, very hurting that I live with somebody, but that person is more conscious of another person. It's really painful to have that experience that we live together, but I think of somebody else. It's a very, very painful situation.
So you're saying, well, what are the people of...
generally it's a painful... I know that I'm living with somebody, but I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm very more close to that person.
No, so what is painful for Krishna or is painful for the people of Dwarka?
Painful for the people of Dwarka in my understanding.
Well, it would, from our point of view, perhaps it is. But from the spiritual point of view, that doesn't take place. Because Krishna completely satisfies the people of Dwarka. And even if he is thinking of something else, somehow they're completely satisfied by the type of relationship they have with him. Though, we can say objectively, if they look at the situation, then they can say, well, actually, Krishna is not so intimate with us, and he's more attracted to them. But they never feel that dissatisfied in their particular relationship with Krishna. In spite of that, on one hand, they objectively see that Krishna is more attracted to Vrindavan. Still, it's also something that they can forget in one sense. The intensity of their particular bhava overcomes that, and they don't. It doesn't disturb them at all, because Krishna is able to satisfy everybody.
Again, the difference between Mathura and Dwaraka is one is Aishwarya, the other one is there is a married relationship, the other one is not a married relationship.
Yeah.
So is that the Aishwarya alone or not being married? I mean, how does it understand that?
Yeah. Well, theoretically, it's possible to have unmarried relationships in Mathura and Dwarka also, like Kubja maybe. And it's also, Jiva Goswami says there is also married Radha Krishna and Madhurya Rasa and all the gopis, etc. So you have two forms, the Swakya and Parakya in Vrindavan itself. And then we also have the two forms outside of Vrindavan. So either, it can take place in either. But according to Vishnu Chakravarti, he says that the Parakya is more intense and it's eternal also than the Swakya in Vrindavan. Jiva Goswami and Gopal Champu says that the Parakya resolves into Swakya and they all get married eventually. But Vishwanath says that the Parakya is also eternal.
When you mentioned about the verse, I preserve what you have and I give what you lack. Is it generally the spiritual aspect or is it also something to do with material?
Both aspects. So he make arrangements so the person can live in the material world. The devotee doesn't ask for things, but the Lord supplies. And then whatever is necessary for spiritual advancement, the Lord encourages and supports that also. So in other words, he guides the devotee and helps in a spiritual advancement.
But Maharaj, can you say that, that what Lord supply to the devotees, it depends on the devotees, that although it look like a material, but devotees who is engaging everything in the service of Krishna is not the material, it is spiritual for the devotees.
Yeah.
But then how can you say this is material again?
What's that?
How can we say this is material? This is spiritual, it's not a material, because he's engaging everything in the service of Krishna.
Well, that's let's say we're taking it from an objective point of view where we have support for the material body. We have to eat, you have to have a place to stay. So those the necessities to maintain the material body, that's all. The body while you're in this world. And of course we can say it's spiritualized, but still we have to eat and whatever like that. It's minimal, but nevertheless the Lord takes care of that. The physical needs in the material world, as long as the body is there.
Manas, you are making one point like Lord supply, this when Lord comes, there are some devotees and those who get personal association, and when Lord doesn't come, and you are making this point, He supply them by whatever they lack, So, but by supplying them whatever they lack is not an indirect process. Is not an indirect way He is supplying, but because someone is getting personal association and someone is not getting personal association, when it's a little bit far, although he is getting everything, it's not the indirect way to get association with the Lord. When Lord supply to the people, he's saying that He.
Or when He's directly present.
Yeah. When He was directly present, He is reciprocating with each and everybody. There is interaction. Yeah. But when He is not present, still there is interaction, but it's indirect. What I'm saying that by supplying, He's reciprocating.
Yeah.
So it's not the indirect way. He's giving association.
Indirect when?
When He's not there. Lord is not there.
When He's not present.
Yeah.
Well, yes, a little bit indirect. That's why when the Lord appears in the material world, then we can say there's special auspiciousness about that, because one gets to directly see the Lord and associate with the Lord. So if you have a choice, then most people would say, okay, I'd rather take my birth when Krishna is personally present than when He's not present. But even if He's not present, you can say it's a little bit indirect, but still, the devotees, the more they advance, the more they get the association of the Lord also. So ultimately, it's non-different in one sense when they get to Prema stage. And they can see the Lord everywhere, at all times.
Another question, Maharaj, you are saying that when those who are living in Dwaraka, they are self-satisfied. They never try to live Dwaraka. They always like to live in the Vrindavan. But we see here, Uddhava case, he also spared the intensity of the love of the gopis.
Yeah. Well, Uddhava was a special case. He's qualified for both places.
He's qualified for both places.
Yeah, of the Yadus, he's the only one.
But because he directly experienced that way, but those who live in the Dwaraka, these queens, they never went to Vrindavan, so they don't know what's happening in the Vrindavan.
But Uddhava was very special. That's why Krishna chose him to go to Vrindavan in the first place with the message, because his capacity was a little different, and he could understand the mood of the people of Vrindavan, whereas the other people of Dwarka really don't understand that mood at all. So they were unqualified to even give the message and pacify the gopis. But Uddhava was highly capable. He could enter into that same mood of Vrindavan. So it said later on when Krishna did return, he returned with Uddhava again, and he stayed there, and Uddhava was also there. So he was able to stay there. No, he didn't take anyone else there when Krishna came back after killing Dandavakra. And so he's a special person that has identity in both places.
Both places he is there.
Almost the same rasa they experienced when they met Krishna in Kurukshetra, Maharaj, the Vrajavasis. Did they experience the same rasa when they met Krishna and
Well, it was restricted because Krishna was in a different place. He wasn't in Vrindavan, and they couldn't experience the same because all the people around there were all different, and the Yadus were there, and the kings were there, and all these people were there, so they couldn't see Krishna in the same way at that time. So that's why they said, you come back to Vrindavan. And Krishna said, oh, come to Dwarka. And they said, no, we can't go to Dwarka. We don't want to go there.
Normally this Vrindavan, Brajavasis, they never try to leave the Vrindavan because of that whatever atmosphere they have in the Vrindavan, they are adjusted to their atmosphere, so they don't try to leave that because of that. Can you say that also?
Well, that's their eternal place. So that's where their rasa can be expressed in the best way. So it can't be expressed nicely in Kurukshetra or in Dwarka. So that's why they prefer Vrindavan. It's an ideal place for them.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
To get the Kindle edition of the book, we can visit Amazon website for your country and sign in with your account. We can search the book by typing the title of the book or type
H. Bhanuswamy in the search bar to get the complete list of Maharaj's publications. By clicking H. Bhanuswamy, we can see the entire library. Let's select a book, say Gopal Champu. On the right hand side, we will find a drop down box with the title Deliver to. Click on it to select your device. Click Buy Now and proceed with your login details and complete the payment process. Some books can get by here. To get the paperback edition, please click here. To get Kindle app, please visit the Google Play Store and install it. Open the Kindle app. Click on Start Reading. And then, let's get started. If the search box is not there, click Next till you find the search box. We can search the book by typing the title of book or type H. Bhanuswamy in the search bar to get the complete list of Maharaj's publications. By clicking on See More, we can get the entire library. Select the book. You can also check the sample by clicking here. Buy now and enjoy reading. We finally proceed to the payment option. Hare Krishna.